if I get the time right tonight. Right. Good evening. Welcome to the Library Board regular meeting of Tuesday, December 9th, 2025. I'd like to call the meeting to order at 6 o'clock on the dot. Will Jeremy please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Board Member Barrett,
Present.
Board Member Bateman,
Present.
Board Member Blunt,
Present.
Board Member Kent is absent, President Turo.
Present. Next is item 4, public comment. Are there any speaker cards?
No speakers.
Next is item 5, reordering of and additions to the agenda. Does the board wish to reorder, make additions to the agenda, or pull any items from the consent calendar?
Ooh, I would.
Okay.
Pretty please. I know during the last city council meeting, there was conversation about possibly including the library board for some of the perhaps interior design elements to the new library. And if that is a possibility, I would love to add that to the agenda. Pretty please.
Next is, are there any others? No, okay. Next is item 6, announcements, future agenda items, and reports on meetings, conferences attended by the board members. Does the board wish to make any announcements, request any future agenda items, or make a report on meetings, conferences attended?
I don't have any meetings attended, but I did attend Holiday on High, and I got to see
Yeah, it was
Michelle Barrett
very
there.
nice.
Yeah,
Very
it was
nice.
very nice. It was crowded, really crowded. It was,
Which
which
is
is
good.
great.
Yeah.
Yes, it was perfect.
Okay. A special invitation from the Moorpark City Library for families in our community. On Wednesday, December 24th, the library will host a Christmas Eve story time from 10:30 to 11:15 a.m. Children and their grown-ups are encouraged to wear their holiday pajamas or festive sweaters and enjoy cozy stories, songs, and fun. The Moorpark Friends of the Library will provide hot chocolate and donut holes, making this a warm and welcoming way to start Christmas Eve together. I think I will be attending that with my little one. Then, on Wednesday, December 31st, families with little ones are invited to the library's Glow and Go Baby Bash for the New Year from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. This high-energy celebration will feature baby-friendly music, stories, crafts, glow fun, and a countdown to noon, complete with a balloon drop, perfect for toddlers, babies, and caregivers who want to ring in the new year without missing nap time. Both events will take place at the Moorpark City Library and are free for the community. We encourage families to join us and to visit the library's website and social media pages for more details. All right. Next is item 7A, consider update to PRCS 12, Moorpark City Library Materials, Selection Policy and Material Reconsideration Form, continued from our last meeting on November 12th, 2025. Staff.
Good evening, President Turo and board members. At the November 12th Library Board meeting, staff presented an updated policy, PRCS 12, Moorpark City Library Materials Selection Policy, intended to meet the requirements of the California Freedom to Read Act. At the meeting, the board had requested whether the policy had been reviewed by our city attorney and had requested that more information and a form be included for the material reconsideration section of the policy. We are presenting to you tonight the revised policy, PRCS 12, as reviewed and revised by the City Attorney's Office. Generally, the City Attorney made revisions to emphasize that the city's decisions and processes are content and viewpoint neutral as required by the Act. And revisions were also made to provide clarity on the material reconsideration process, including eligibility and requirements to fill out the form, as well as the time frames for responses to the requests. Several sections were also reorganized to improve clarity and readability. Also included for your consideration is the material reconsideration form. staff has confirmed that the form can be made into an online form and provided on the city's website, in addition to being available to pick up at the circulation desk in the library. The city attorney's office also did look at the form and the content of the form. So with that, staff's recommendation is to review the revisions to PRCS 12, now named Moorpark City Library Collection Development Policy, for compliance with AB 1825, and recommend approval to the Parks and Recreation Director, as well as review and provide input on the material reconsideration form. This concludes my report, and staff is available to answer any questions.
Thank you for the report. Are there any speakers?
No speakers.
Does the board have any questions?
No questions, but I would love to say that I got my highlighter out and didn't even take the top off, because I really think that this addressed every concern that I had, and I really appreciate the work that went into this. And I think it meets the spirit of the law, and I applaud the efforts and us coming together on this. Thank you so much.
Appreciate the comments, too.
I do have a couple of questions. The first, still related to Section 10, the Section 10 indicates that there will be an email address, also on page 10 of our packet, that the form can be uploaded to the following link, and then it reads "to be added." I just wanted to check to make sure that that was going to be populated prior to.
Yeah, we just don't have the link because we don't have the form populated, but once we have the form created, we'll have the link. So the italics were sort of for your eyes only.
Oh, fabulous, fabulous. Okay, and then my other question is, will the acknowledgement letters and decision responses be archived for reporting to the board or state library, just to ensure transparency after adoption?
I mean, they have to be according to the city's retention policy, so they'll be, archived for whatever that says in that policy, which Kim would probably know more than me. But there's a certain time period that we have to keep items, so.
Okay, fabulous. Thank you very much for making those changes. And it does, it reads really well, so thank you.
Does the board have any other questions?
Yeah, I was just wondering on the reconsideration form, is there an age requirement for that? Or I don't know if that's necessary, but can just anybody, because it says card holders and Moorpark residents. So is there a specific requirement for that?
So I think we discussed that after. We have to approve this first, and then we go to the reconsideration form? Discuss that, or is it all in one?
No, I think you can, oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, did
Okay.
you guys discussed it, or? I'm like,
We have two separate approvals on the agenda, 1 and 2. And 2 is to review and provide input on the material reconsideration form. So we would take a vote on the first item first.
I mean, you can still answer Michelle's question, of course, but,
You could still talk about it, and
Yeah.
your motion would just be
right.
incorporating any of those changes, if there are any.
I don't know if that's necessary, but I was just wondering.
I don't think there's anything in the law that says anything about an age of person that submits the form, that I recall reading in it. Do you recall anything like that? But I would imagine, obviously, if they can't write, or, so we're talking about like 13, maybe 12, 13-year-olds or whatever, but we would assume that most of these would be adults. But as long as they're a City of Moorpark resident or a library card holder.
But to that point, I think it's really important to encourage that kind of civic participation. Like, why would we limit that to being 18 or older? I think that that's kind of a unique way for them, if they so chose, to get involved. I don't see a reason for limiting it.
I agree with you. I encourage it almost. So, yeah, if we don't legally have to have one. And I like the disclaimer that's added to the top of the actual form.
Okay.
I
Does
have
the,
another question.
oh, go ahead.
In the section where it talks about placement of materials, It says assign classification, format, susceptibility to loss or damage, rarity, cost, digital licensing, etc. Would there ever be a need for placement according to content?
Which section
That's
is it?
5, public access. Because I do recall talking with someone once, and they were concerned about some content that their child had access to that they felt was inappropriate, so I was wondering, does that ever come up, or?
So the section D on 5D is what we can use to determine placement of the materials. And that was one of the additions, or one of the additions I think that the city attorney had made. So it's those things that determine where the materials get placed. So I don't know if that answers your question. Did that answer that right?
I just want to clarify, Michelle, so if, let's just say, for argument purposes, there is a month that is dedicated to a certain segment of the population, and that was highlighted in the library, and it was on the front table as they walked in, and some of that related to questionable, maybe, or not questionable, but something that somebody might find offensive. Can somebody's request to the library be that it be moved or hidden as part of the policy, or not hidden, but moved to a more appropriate location in the library where you could maybe monitor access to it as part of the request of the library, not necessarily to remove an item from circulation, but to change the location of where it's placed?
That was my understanding from what I was talking to the person about.
Okay.
Is they were concerned that their child had access to something that they felt was a bit too mature for them.
Okay, okay.
That's what I think it was.
So there's a couple of areas in the policy that sort of address that. I mean, there is a section about how for minors, parents are responsible for the materials that their minors are consuming at the library. So we would leave it up to the parent to either remove the book from their children's possession or whatever, if they should come home with it, or not let them check it out. I forget which section that's in, but that's in an earlier section. And then specifically the California Freedom to Read Act on F kind of limits our ability to limit people's consumption of materials in the library just because they might personally find something offensive. So.
I'm going to throw something in here because I think I think that the form addresses your concern. Section 3, very open-ended, free text section that allows you to communicate the nature of your concern. Section 4, context of use, intended audience, but then it talks about if you discuss your concern with a library staff member, and there's a reconsider placement here, which I think addresses the concern and allows this form to address those concerns that somebody might have about location in the library. So I
And-
think that
And the one below it, the reevaluate aged
designation. Yeah.
might also, yeah.
be helpful. While maybe not specifically called out in the policy, I think that the form
Yeah.
answers that. Maybe.
It does, yeah, you're right.
Or allows the public to have that discussion with the library staff, yeah.
There is a portion, though, on that form that does allow, there's an out clause before submitting the form. It indicates, have you had a conversation with the librarian or the library staff? So it doesn't necessarily have to get escalated to. The other part, of course, is the caveat where if a book or a genre is reviewed, then it cannot be touched for another 2 years. So it's kind of a moot point at that point if someone were displeased. And I know what you're talking about. I've experienced it too, where I've had people come up and vocalize some concerns, but I think at the end of the day, it's up to the discretion of, and it's not that their voice wouldn't be heard, but it's more generalized placement, not catering to a specific preference. Finite, yeah. But I think the form does a good job with laying all of that out in like a hold harmless.
Okay. Is there any more discussion or questions regarding the, well, first of all, the policy? No? Okay. Is there a motion to approve the revisions to PRCS 12 Moorpark City Library Collection Development Policy for compliance with AB 1825 and recommend approval to the Parks and Recreation Director? This will not be the form yet.
I'd like to move, I, Ola Bateman, move that the library board approve the amended policy.
Okay. And a second?
I will second the motion.
All right. Board Member Bateman made the motion and Board Member Blunt seconded the motion to approve staff's recommendation to approve the revisions to PRCS 12, Moorpark City Library Collection Development Policy for compliance with AB 1825 and recommend approval to the Parks and Recreation Director. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The motion carries. Okay, so then, is it the consensus of the board that it recommends the suggestions made? So that, I mean, it was more of a discussion, but I guess we can talk if there were any other suggestions made to that form.
I'm happy with the form. I like all of the additions from a checks and balances perspective. I think it's very thorough.
Okay, so is it the consensus of the board that it recommends none of the suggestions about the material reconsideration form?
You could just move to approve the form.
Yeah, so there we go. Do we approve the form? This is just a general consensus. It doesn't need yes and no. So as long as everybody is in agreement.
Is this an aye thing?
Yeah, just aye.
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 Okay. Thank you. We're going to make it through, I promise. Next is item 7B, consider update on library project. Staff.
Thank you, President Thoreau and members of the Library Board. I will give you a very brief update on where we're at. Unfortunately, we started a little slow. We issued a notice to proceed on the project on October 6th. And that was about it's taken about a good 6 weeks just to get the contractor on site. There's a lot to do initially with clearing and grubbing and getting trailers and permits and things like that. About 3 weeks ago, they were issued a grading permit, and which meant that they can go out there with heavy equipment and actually start moving dirt. But unfortunately, the next day, we issued a stop notice because there were some administrative requirements that they hadn't met, mostly conditions of approval that were related to the grading permit. So since then, we've been working with the contractor to get them in compliance so that they could actually move forward. Along the way, we found some interesting features underground, cesspools, and they have been removed, but they keep finding them. They've found 4 so far. I won't get into the details of what those actually are or how they function, but they have been removed. As of today, they were actually grading on site, moving dirt, and going full bore. So we're finally underway, and we're excited to see more work coming. As Board Member Blunt mentioned, we do have some exciting things coming your way as far as the interior of the library. We've been working really hard with our Arts Commission as well as the City Council to finalize some artwork for the children's play area. The theme is an agricultural theme, and the main component of that is a giant apricot tree in the children's area which is essentially going to be the backdrop for our storytime area and some of those spaces. Currently, the artwork consists of the main apricot tree and 3 smaller flowering trees. The city council wants more, and so that's where we're going to share it with you as well as the teen council, and get some further input. Some of the comments from the city council was that they were looking for something a little bit more immersive, right? It's nice artwork. It looks pretty cool, but they wanted that experience as you enter into the children's area, so that it's kind of inclusive throughout the entire children's area rather than kind of a standalone, more or less art piece. So that's where we're moving forward with it. We've had some discussions with our interior designers and our architects, and we're going to have to move a little bit quickly on it. We're kind of behind the 8 ball to start redesigning the children's area, but so we'll bring that to you your first meeting in January. So, and that's about it. Right now, it's just a lot of work. If you've ever gone through building construction, it's just a lot of paperwork for about the first 6 months. They have to show you, the contractor goes through a process of submittals and RFIs, and they basically have to show you that every single component, no matter what it is, of that building is what the architect specified. If it's not what the architect specified, they have to show how it's an equal product. It's very time consuming. Some of the really neat things is what they're doing now is they have a BIM program where they put everything in 3D models to make sure that they don't have any conflicts with HVA ductwork and plumbing and electrical. And so that brings about a lot of RFIs because we just have to answer questions or move things and whatnot. So a lot of work behind the scenes, and maybe just a little bit of dust. But so that's where we're at.
Great. Thank you for your report. Are there any speakers?
No speakers.
Does the board have any questions of staff?
Yeah, I just have one question. We had discussed at the last meeting, and obviously, I have no expectation, but about a groundbreaking ceremony. And it's funny, in the meantime, I was thinking about it, and, the actual groundbreaking and when we commemorate groundbreaking can be 2 different things. For the opportunity to create some buzz and some positive PR, maybe even some fundraising potentially around a groundbreaking event, I was wondering if we could consider setting a date where there might be a hard hat and a shovel in your hand, whether or not that was the actual date that somebody dug a hole, the first hole on the project. As long as a hole was dug at some point, it might be nice to kind of create some, marketing around it.
Yeah, so the big holdup with the groundbreaking, I think we had shared, was trying to get our local congresswoman to attend. Our public information officer is in dialogues with them. We don't think that's going to happen in December. Likely in January is what we're targeting. And we intend to highly publicize that. And you can dig as many holes as you want, whether they've dug them or not. We got gold shovels and we've got hard hats for everybody. It'll be a grand old time. And I know the Friends are looking into doing some kind of groundbreaking fundraising thing that will be hosted at the library, because in reality, most groundbreaking ceremonies are 5, 10, 15 minutes long, because it is going to be an active construction site. So there's plans coming along on that as well. So, but we will definitely let you know. I'm trying to, I'd like to be able to give people some advance notice, make sure everybody can be there. I know everyone's busy. So, hopefully we can get a number dialed down or a date dialed down real soon. So.
Excellent, thank you.
I love the idea of all of that, especially if we were to open it up to the children who are super excited about this new library, and considering the residents of Moorpark that came out to speak on behalf of this new library from a potential to do some fundraising. I don't know if it all has to be organized by the Friends of the Library, certainly from a partnership with them, obviously no more than 2 to avoid a Brown Act violation, but I think that there could be something there, that could be really fun for the community to bring everybody together and show that they were heard, their voices were heard.
Does the board have any further discussion? No? Okay. Next is item 8A, the consent calendar. Is there a motion to approve the consent calendar?
I will make a motion to approve the consent calendar.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Board member Blunt made the motion and board member Bateman seconded the motion to approve the consent calendar. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All those opposed? The motion carries. But we didn't have anything pulled, but board member Blunt wanted to have a further discussion, or was that it?
I think it was just to put it on a future agenda item, so we actually can't talk about it.
Oh, okay. Then we're
Right?
done.
Am I right? Okay.
Okay.
Correct. That's just for
Um,
future.
Yes, you're right. I'm a little fuzzy today. All right. Next is item 9, adjournment. I adjourned the meeting at 6:27. Is that right? Good night, Moorpark.